Welcome to the Working Audio Tools podcast. The question on mine and Paul's mind this week has been, at what point should you ignore what the internet has to say and just focus on your own self-belief for what is right for the track? We're going to discuss this at length, talk about clients, talk about multiple opinions, mixing for genres, mixing for what we feel is right, beginning to trust in ourselves and our worth and our abilities and our own ears. Paul, welcome back. It's been emotional.
See you later.
What's triggered this for you? I feel like you've been on a bit of a journey this week.
Yeah, I think it's been a while since I've got like a paid mixing client. Ed's been in a better position than me recently. And I think that whole experience of last week, it was weird for me because at one point I had a high because it was like, yeah, I got the gig, brilliant. Like, yeah, I was really good. I kind of like was in a shitty place, but I fixed it and got myself back and redeemed myself. And then I looked at a lot of the comments and I found that like nearly everybody preferred Ed's mix. And I was just kind of had this, it was like a juxtaposition of, I won the mix, which is great, but I almost felt a little bit like I cheated Ed, or like Marv had made the wrong decision. And I sat back and the day after and I thought, but I got the gig. Who gives a shit? Like what anybody on the internet says. And then I started speaking to a lot of people that I know in the industry, a lot of mentors, a lot of friends, and they said the same thing that I thought already. That they were like, Paul, nobody on the internet matters when it comes to your client. It's like the only person you need to impress is your client. And so then it got me thinking about, how much we actually do take, what the internet says on board, and like how does that actually affect our journey? And because there are good points and bad points. There are great things of the internet that, have helped people. But I think there's also a lot of bad things that can make you fall down. There's kind of traps you can fall down. It's very easy to do it and very easy to get yourself in a place where you kind of don't really trust yourself and your own judgments. And you feel like you need to lean on other people, other places to tell you what's right. And that's something that me and Ed have found, doesn't work. Me and Ed have achieved everything that we've achieved so far by just hard work and mixing. If there's one thing that my mentors, say to me all the time, whether it be Emra, MSM, everybody, they're just like, what have you mixed today? What do you mean? What have you mixed today? Have you done a mix today? I've done 2, I've done 3. And I've actually been mixing fucking like 5 days this week. What mixes have you done today? I've not done anything today. Why have you not done anything today?
I've rabbit-holed slew rates on
exactly.
cheap
I've
audio
rabbit-holed
interfaces.
this, I've rabbit-holed that. How long have you spent on the internet? How many videos have you watched today?
How many comments have you replied to?
Yeah, it's like how.
Not many, but I set up a new Discord so people can speak to me directly. Link in the comments.
Yeah, and it's a thing where it's like I kind of got to a point this week where I think because I had another client this week as well, so not only did I have Marv, I got an EDM client this week and I'd never mixed EDM before. And going into it, I just thought, oh my God, like, how is this, are they in my head? Is everybody on the internet in my head? Am I good enough to do this? And I thought, no. You know what you need to do. There's the rough. And know what? I sent it to the client and his feedback was, this is superb, paid me today, job done. Boom. Like V1.
Mix
I don't know.
one.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be the version that gets approved. He's got to send it to the production team. But again, the first reaction was...
So that is effectively where you're going to be opening it up to the internet, because you are then going to get however many people are in that WhatsApp group. Say it's 5. You're going to get 5 different opinions.
Maybe.
Yeah, but that's part of dealing with clients. I've had it several times now where I've sent things to an artist and then it's gone to other people and their opinions have come in and you have to kind of navigate those, and sometimes it's a bit disheartening, sometimes it's stressful because you've got to interpret what they mean. But as always, communication is key. But just quickly, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being easy, how much easier is EDM than rock and acoustic instruments to mix?
Thank you for fucking putting me in. Right, okay. For me, personally, that was the first EDM mix I'd had, and I found it an absolute breeze, right? I genuinely did. Emra, was very quick to tell, because I put it on the Discord, just to kind of it's like, sometimes I do like to wind up the people that are on the Discord, have a bit of a laugh. But Emra was he's like, bro, there's a mix there for you to practice on. He went, that is one of the hardest mixes I've done. Nothing was in time. There was phase issues everywhere. Yes, there was phase issues when they weren't acoustically recorded. instruments and stuff like that.
That's common with kick, especially kick samples.
Yeah, so he was like, there's a lot to fix there, bro. I was like, okay, yeah, I take your point on board. But obviously I was speaking to Ed before we went on air, and he just decided to throw me in publicly. But yeah, I think there's elements of like EDM and stuff like that and dance music where a lot of it's digitally sampled, and it all comes down to the producer. And what I'd said on the Discord was, if you get a really good produced EDM mix from a really good producer, and you get a really well produced like rock or country, you know, single from a really good producer, and the tracks have been really recorded well, I still think the rock and the country song is going to be a lot harder, especially if they've got a lot of instrumentation to them. Because again, you've got to get the drums right, you've got to get the drums working, make sure they're all in time and they're all in phase. Then again, you've got to meet the expectations of the genre, which means you're going to have to try and get the right samples, then make sure that those samples are in key to are in the right key of the music and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff that can go wrong when you're mixing acoustic stuff. And it's funny because Leo Sargon, who we had on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, said that if you could mix rock, you could mix anything. And that took us back a little bit. Now, obviously people are in the comments going to be like, I mix EDM. It's not easy. I'm telling you, it's not easy. I know. I'm not trying to wind you up. That's just Ed throwing me under the fucking bus there.
I'm trying to wind you up back, yeah. Paul.
But yeah, like, at the end of the day, I think that one thing that this week taught me is that you just got to be confident in your own abilities, and you've got to make your own decisions, and the client will always guide you where they want to go. I think the issue for me was that Marv chose my mix. So by default, I thought that my mix was going to sound the best on average. But that wasn't the case. Many people thought that Ed's mix had more weight to it. And I think many people didn't like the way that it tightened up the bass in it. But that was something that Marv really liked. Marv's all about mid-range. He's a guitarist. And I was thinking psychologically about how I think about people I work with. So he mixes on ATCs, which are very mid-range forward. He is a guitarist, so anybody that knows a guitarist knows that the guitarist is always going to listen to the guitars in the mid-range and stuff like that. Where if you're a drummer like Ed, you're going to hyper-focus on the drums. Like I would hate to imagine like a guy starting out mixing, and he gets Ed's drums that are very well recorded, very well played, and then Ed being on the WhatsApp group. Yeah, they don't like that, don't like the timing, don't like what you've done there, you don't like that, don't like this, don't like that. But again, that could happen because drummers are very particular about their own sound. And sometimes you've got to think about, who's the client that I'm trying to impress here? If it's somebody that's like a really, really big hip-hop guy or girl, them or they, low end might be the thing that you need to nail. That is the thing. You need to get the snare right, and you need to get the low end right, and you need to get the vocals right. A lot of the nice imaging kind of stuff that I could do, I'll put a little bit of depth in there, a little bit of auto pan, and if I can do this and that, they might just be like, yeah, bro, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit. You didn't get the low end right. Remix it. This guy's shit. And you know what I mean? And I think that's why many mixers say to me, Paul, always try and look at the big picture. Because if you look at the big picture, that's when you see the stuff that really matters. And I do get in the weeds a lot. I think, again, Ed can do it as well. It's easy when you're trying to make something that's all very well put together, 5 to 10% better, because then you've got to really look inside the mix. And I think that's what it's a little bit easier for mastering engineers, I think, because a mastering engineer could sit back and just go, doesn't really need anything, to be honest with you. I can make it maybe a little bit louder, maybe a little bit of like half a dB low shelf, that's really all it needs. All right, okay, there's your 50 quid, cheers. Where, again, that's not what you're given as a mix engineer. Your job is to go, right, I don't care what you do, make that 5 to 10% better. You know what I mean? But if I was and the issue that I had this week was that if I would have looked at all the comments, I would have sat back and went, no, I should remix that. I should turn them to Marv and say, know what, Marv, I need to redo the bass on that and give you more of a filled out bass, like what Ed's had. And honestly, there was a part of me where I was sitting at one point on yesterday, I was just like, I felt terrible, and I felt that I'd cheated Ed. I felt like all the comments are saying that Ed's mix is better. Like, did I just luck out here? Like, have I kind of pulled the rug under him and stuff like that? And then my wife would just said, Paul, like, why are you overthinking this? You got the gig. It's like, you always say to me that it doesn't matter what happens. You and Ed are always like, as long as one of us gets the gig, that's all we matter. That's all we care about. Again, it's like, if neither of us got the gig, then we'd be fucking dejected. But me and him are so supportive of one another that I promise you, right? See if Ed would have got that mix, I would have been delighted for him. For me and Ed, it's almost like, not that we're one, but we kind of are one, because we're this strong, cohesive kind of thing that just comes together, and we're like, yeah, we're in this together, bruv. And then it's only
Paul's
until
wife refers to me as his other wife.
I know. But know what? I think what's important...
Without the sex.
Yeah, okay. Easy now. Easy. Remember, I'm staying at your house in July. I didn't want fucking conspiracy theories getting brought up.
There's a lock on the door, it's fine. Let's move on
fucking
quickly.
better be on my door. Right. But I think at the end of the day, right, what I want you to take from this is that as much as, like, we have learned so much from all of you that comment, right, especially in the early days, because as we've said before, it needed to sting. There was a lot of things me and Ed weren't getting right. Like, we were getting our translation wrong, we weren't hearing things right. We had a lot of learning, and we took so much learning from everything that you guys have posted. But we do feel that we're at a very privileged point now where we've kind of honed our skills to where it is just down to taste. And we are seeing the comments, and we are seeing, it's like, yeah, two good mixes, it's just basically down to taste. And it's like, when it comes down to taste, people are finding stuff to, like, critique because they feel like I have to. It's like, what's the point in me commenting unless I've got, like, a minor thing about it? You know what I mean?
feel like there's been a shift. Like, previously there were quite unanimous things obviously wrong that we needed to address, whereas now it's definitely more like, oh, okay, kind of need to spend a little bit more time looking for the little nuances, and it's been a long road to get to this point. I mean, what have we been doing mixed comparisons? Be 3 years nearly?
Yeah, about that.
2.5, 3 years. And yeah, I feel like we've come a long way, and there have been growing pains. I mean, for me, one of the big ones was when we tried doing A/B examples on Instagram and get the audience to vote.
Oh, yeah.
Which one was which. And the first two mixes, I was like, nah, my mix sounds better on speakers. And then the mixes were going Paul's way. And then the third one, I thought, oh, yeah, you know, Paul's better. And then everyone preferred mine. And Paul, you know, I hated losing twice, and then Paul hated losing once. And then we canned the idea because it was shit. But what that triggered us to do was really understand why people were choosing different things. And for me, the big one was my smiley face EQ days, where all the punch and energy was coming from low end and top end, and I wasn't getting the translation to phone speakers, and that really for me was the first point of, like, translation. If it doesn't translate, it's not going to work. And then, as you all know, that started us on our rabbit hole to where we are now.
Monitoring, yeah.
But now, I think one of the reasons, you know, with last week's mix, I didn't feel cheated at all. I thought you did a great mix. I thought your mix was better than mine. Marv's a client. His opinion is what counts. Although, you know, I will stress to everyone listening, we do appreciate your comments and encouragement. And what I do personally is pay attention. I consider everyone's suggestions. Sometimes, you know, they're right. Someone picked up on the phasing issue in the vocal in the chorus. That is a tuning plugin. I just tested that earlier. So I consider everything and then decide whether I think I want to act on it or make a change or not. Because I think you can learn something from absolutely everyone. But I think with last week's mix, there's something about mine that maybe translated to a lot of systems.
Yeah, I agree.
I think yours nailed Marv's hearing and Marv's ATC setup. And it does translate well. But maybe, because you're Mr. Mid-Range, so that's why your mix was always working on the iPhones when we were doing the Instagram ABs. And I was like, what the hell? I mean, and I had to admit, it does sound better. But why? Because in my room, mine sound better. So that was the focus for me then. You know, we can't rely on the smiley face for energy. Mixers have got to work on speakers and headphones and phones, consumer devices. And now, you know, all that's taught me is just to go down an extensive mix translation checking process. When I think I've got the mix, I'm mixing on, you know, I'm checking on mix to mobile on my phone. I'm not just using the mobile phone preset in Masterplan, because that's doing is putting an EQ on what your system is putting out already. So if you've got amazing headphones, all you're doing is listening to that mix with an odd EQ on amazing headphones. Yeah, you're not listening to the actual device that's putting out, and that's, I think, massively important. So I'll check on that. Check on my AirPods, whatever they're fucking called. the Apple earbud things. My Anchor soundbar, the Angry Boxes are phenomenal for this. It's exactly that magic in the mid-range bandpass thing. It's a bit more extensive what we're doing now, but I think it's working. But all of this is an essential learning curve, and we've both had growing pains. I mean, I've sat reading comments regularly, been like, "Yeah, Paul's mix is far better, far better," and I'm like, ugh. I mean, I don't know if it's necessary to phrase it like that, but he's done something different, or whatever he's done has resonated more in one way or the other. Okay, well, what's he done that works better? What can I nick from Paul? And the great thing about this for us has been, the accountability of, we make sure we turn up every week and do this podcast, no excuses.
Yeah.
We make sure that we do mixes and we push each other, no excuses. And it's having that accountability partner, but also someone just to trade ideas off and be like, actually, you've not done that great. Try this. And we're, what you see on the episodes is one thing, but we're behind the scenes back and forward like this nearly every day. And then, I'm up to mix 5 already from Marv's mix. Tried Mix Boss with interesting results. And then I've had to go away and do something else. And this is just for my benefit, not to try and nick the client back off Paul. That'd be the ultimate breakup of the podcast.
But you see, at the end of the day, though, I think hopefully what you can take from this is that what me and Ed always try and do is we always try and learn from our own experiences. And I think that, if I was to take all the comments from last week's video, imagine I was to take all those comments before I mixed it. I wouldn't have done the bass the way that I did it. I wouldn't have gave the mid-range as much separation as I did. I wouldn't have took that chance. And, it's a thing where what's important is that there is no right and wrong. I'm not saying that people are wrong. The hard thing that we're in just now is that I listened to Ed's mix, actually the past fucking 5-6 mixes we've done, and I'm like, Ed's a fucking great mixer, you know what I mean? But we sim different. And when it's great that the two of us can go, these are both great mixes. It's just that sims like you and that sims like me. You know what I mean? And that's what's really important. But I think what's really, really hard for many people is that they are in a place where they've been so used to using the internet as a crutch that you need somebody to tell you to buy stuff. We've spoke about it before, right? I don't have to go into too much detail, but yeah, this new interfaces came out. Should I buy it? This new headphones came out. Should I buy it? Should I get this amp for this with this headphone? Should I get this? Should I do this? What should this sidechain? So and so said it worked on their mix. Should I do that? Chad Blake did this in this mix, and Serban did it in that mix, and CLA did it in that mix 20 years ago. Should I do that? Should I do this? And I'm like, just fucking try it. Just try stuff. I think many people have this opinion. I took a little, again, letting the internet get into my head, where one comment fucked me off royally, and I was making out that it was like Emre was almost holding my hand, and he'd fucking, picked me up like a little broken bird with a broken wing, and was like, yeah, this is what you need to do, Paul. Listen to the master. Now fly, little bird, fly. Shit on Ed's head. But no, that's not what fucking happened. You know what I mean? I got the feedback from Marv, and then he basically gave me his feedback. I went, yeah, I kind of agree with the client. Ed's got smoother mid-range. Right, okay, FT1s have to go. Bang, have to go. And I did the whole mix myself on the MX4s, still again tweaking with that EQ, because they're hard to EQ to get them right. But, and I did it. I made the record sound the way I thought it should sound. That's the thing, the risk that you take when you take a gamble like what I did is to mix on something that you don't know. Because I'm used to the way I hear things, we all mix to the way we think that it should sound. As much as you've got the rough, you still go, right, this is what I think should be improved. So the FT1s weren't telling me the truth. And that's the way the mix ended up coming out. It wasn't telling me the truth. Went to the MX4s, they tell me more the truth. Again, did the EDM mix, 4 hours, bang. Fucking clients like, this is superb. Okay, the MX4s are telling me the truth. I know to stick with them. And Emre, again, gave me a slap on the wrist and was like, right, bro, just stick to the things that work. He went, as much as we are trying out all these different headphones for mix phones, it's like, he went, Paul, I still do my bread and butter, say on the Aria Organics, I've still reference on certain things. It's like, there's stuff I know works. He went, you've just got to get yourself in a way of testing stuff in a mix. Not that you need to do the full mix on it, but you could do maybe be halfway through a mix and stick them on your head, EQ them and be like, right, how does the mix sound? And that sims off, that sims off, that sims off. Let me quickly see what that would be if I change that, and that. And he's like, Don't save it. He went, just do. Maybe print a quick AB and then listen back and forth. That's all you need to do. Is like what you're doing is fucking mixing whole records on stuff that you don't know, and then again that's impacting your translation. So it's a learning curve, but at the end of the day, that's an experience. I know now not to do that. I know if I'm testing a new piece of monitoring and it's like in a mixing scenario where it's for a client, I know how to do it now. But I know how to do that because I fucked up. And as we always say, you always got to learn from your fuck ups. But if you're always using the internet for like, if this is good or that's good, you're never going to be able to make those decisions because you're going to be too scared. So many people are scared to make bad decisions. That's how you learn. You know what I mean? That's how you learn. And I think, it's what I love about the way that it's ended up with the mix last week is that regardless of if most people preferred Ed's mix, I just accepted that my mix is my mix. I just accepted that Ed did a stellar job and I did a good job and it was just the one that the client preferred, and that's okay. And it did, Ed. It brought me a little bit back to those days where we used to do the ABs on the phones and stuff. And, it does feel good, right? And I think that's why me and him stopped it, is because as soon as me and Ed feel that there's an unhealthy battle going on, even though we say mixed battle and stuff like that, it's just fucking clickbait. It's just to get you to click it. It's like, it's not a battle, you know what I mean? Like
when there's an unhealthy wedge getting pushed between us.
Yeah.
To try and
that's what I felt
separate.
That one comment was maybe trying to do, but it was almost like, oh, if Ed hadn't had that first balance, you would have been lost. And I was like, whoa, fucking calm your horses there, son. You're talking absolute shite now. And, and it was stuff like that where I was like, don't get in between me and my bro. You know what I mean? It's like me and Ed are very fucking close friends and we rely on each other a lot. You know what I mean? And it's a thing where that's not what it's about. It's not about nailing people to a cross and about making people, feel pissed off. Parts of me were sitting there going, are people doing this intentionally? Are people feeling because I've maybe rubbed them up the wrong way? And I have. I've rubbed a lot of people up the wrong way on the internet, Ed. It's fucking Paul Third. I argue with a lot of people, and again, I've slated people for slagging people for mixing on bare dynamics, and again, people have said that I'm wrong, and I'm like, nah, and I fucking put them in their place, and then again, I've argued with people and shit like that, and that sticks with people, but then that gets in your head, being a YouTuber, and you're like, are you only saying you don't like my mix because I fucked you off in the past and stuff? And then I speak to my wife, and she's just like, why are you thinking about this, Paul? Why do you care? You said to me, all that matters is your client. Why are you letting these people get into your head? It's just their opinion, and everybody's entitled to their opinion. It's what you do with the opinion. Is Ed, honestly, that man is a little bit of a guru sometimes, just that I choose not to listen to him sometimes because I know he's right.
Often. A guru about what? Sorry, you're about to give me a compliment.
Yeah, when Ed says everything's a choice, right? So it's a choice whether we let you comment or not comment. We could hide all the comments. We could do that in a heartbeat. It's our choice whether to do that or not do that. And it's also a choice whether to take as Ed said, whether to take somebody's opinion and take that on board or not. It's a choice. The world is full of opinions, but the problem is that the internet is all opinions. I've said it before. I started commenting people back saying, right, where could we hear your mixes? Still, nobody's done it yet. And it's scary how many people have got that much of a big mouth on the internet, but they don't have the confidence to be able to back up their shit. They don't have the confidence to be able to say, know what, fuck you, there's my mixes there, I'm at a high level, I know what I'm talking about. Right, and know what, see if somebody did that, that's like high five, bro, well fucking done. Because that's what it's all about. It's all about accountability. And I kind of feel that like what we've done is great because we're constantly giving ourselves accountability. And, we're constantly putting our balls on the guillotine every week. But you do need to get to a level where you just need to trust yourself and you need to be confident that you're at a level where you can kind of go, right, you're entitled to your opinion, but I'm going to do this. You know what I mean? And it's okay for things to maybe not go your way and maybe for people to be like, yeah, they're shading that. And then again, I use my wife all the time. My wife is like, but Paul, if everything's down to taste, right, you could have maybe put 100 people in that room and like say 50 people preferred yours and 50 people preferred Ed's. It's just that on your podcast that week, 50 people of that were fucking, was in the Ed camp that week. But you're like, but why does that matter to you? And that made me go back to myself and reflect that I still need to work on myself. I need to work on myself that it's okay not to be the best guy in the room. That's something that I always work at. There's an ego involved all the time. And it's as much as I'm always happy for Ed, I think I'm glad he brought up the ABs, because that is something that was hard for the two of us, because we've all got an ego, because we all want to put ourselves in the best light, and we all want to do what we do to the best of our ability. And me and him are super hard on ourselves. You will struggle to find two guys trying to do this professionally that are as hard on ourselves as we are.
True.
Really hard on ourselves.
Very true.
But what's good is that we've got each other. So like when we're going through a hard time, the other one helps the other one out. It's not like, we've never been a thing where it's where one kind of gets the rub of the green that week, and it's like, fuck you, mate, about that then. We're the opposite.
Yeah,
of
no,
that.
we've pep talk each other on numerous
All the time.
occasions.
And I think that's what you need to make it in this game, is you need good people around you. You need good people that you can trust, that aren't going to just fill your head with all the wrong stuff. What I love about Emre is that Emre never tells me what to do. He just tells me his opinion, and he just goes, I'd maybe not do that. Maybe sounds a bit like that to me. And he just leaves it like that. I mean, I remember like when I first started speaking to him, send stuff, he'd be like, yeah, this is a really bad mix, bro. I'd be like, what? He'd be like, yeah, this is really bad, bro. Like, you've not done that, and that. Yeah, that needs fixed. And he just leaves you with it. And he'd be like, well, what should I do? And I remember like years ago, he just went, you just need to figure it out, do you? It's the best fucking feedback you can get, you know what I mean? But at that time, like now, like as much as like I love Emre to pieces, he's my bro, as much as Ed. But, at the end of the day, as much as I respect his mixing work, if he was to say, you need to do that, if I'm like, I'm not agreeing with it, I'm going to send it to the client and I'm going to see what they think. I've still got the confidence and the ability to, even if it was Serbian Guinea saying to me, maybe we wouldn't do that. If I really, truly believed that what I did was right, I would stick to my guns and I'd have the balls to say, right, I'm going to do it. You know what I mean?
And I think that's where we've both moved into a good place. And for me, I think it's come from two things, maybe three things. One of them is just from my own therapy journey, I'm a lot more at peace and comfortable with myself and a lot less anxious about what other people are thinking. I still worry about it.
It's a big thing, yeah.
I still have anxiety about those things, but and this is one thing the podcast has challenged, and it's probably not a coincidence that these things have happened at the same time in parallel.
Yeah.
Me working on these things in therapy and these things challenging me in life, where, we've done mixes and then we've had opinions from Marcel, from Emre, from, 100 people in the comments, from each other people, that we know, all chiming in on opinions. And there were times where I was like, whoa, this is just opinion paralysis. I don't know what direction to go in, because, it's like anything. Put 100 people's opinions, they're going to say polar opposite things. You're going to get a spectrum of 180
Always.
degrees of what you should do. Snares too quiet, snares too loud, kicks right, kicks wrong. It's like, you pulled in the middle. And what all this was really good for me solidifying was, okay, finding the self-belief that actually what I'm doing is right. Now, that comes from two things. One, being content and happy and finding that self-belief and self-worth. And also developing the skills and the tools to be able to achieve, what's the phrase? Confidence through success, or confidence through achievement, which is basically, that was what I did as a drummer. It works to an extent, but it's really powerful when you back it up with actual confidence. From finding self-worth. There's a lot of work to do on that, obviously. But the third thing for me, which is not quite as important, but has helped for me in terms of practical, technical thing, has been not fucking with the studio for 4 months into this year. Yeah. As I said, I wouldn't. I said I wasn't going to buy anything and I wasn't going to change anything round. And it's probably no coincidence that I'm finding consistency.
You are, 100%, yeah.
That and headphones, 50-50 between headphones and speakers now.
I know, it's mental, eh?
DistroKid sponsors the Working Audio Tools podcast, and 30% off your first year subscription can be found in the podcast show notes and the YouTube video description. Hyperfollow is the easiest way to place all of your content in one single place, making finding all of your content super easy for your audience. Upload artwork for your release, edit the information, and apply links to all of the streaming platforms your music is going to be available, which of course on DistroKid is potentially all of them that exist now and even in the future. Add social media buttons so your audience can find you and your latest music video. Creating a beautiful landing page with a preview of your music is easy with Hyperfollow. Hyperfollow links can be created for all of your releases, and it enables you to create pre-save links for your audience to pre-order your music before it's released. This link is shareable on all of your platforms and a great way to promote your next release, only with DistroKid.
But I think, again, it's that whole, maturity that Ed has, that Ed's had the maturity to get out of his own head of, oh yeah, the people say that you need to have that. I had fucking expensive PSI speakers and I said they were great. And it took a lot of balls for Ed to do his PSI video and say, you know what, on reflection, having mixed on them, they just weren't right for me in this room. That took a lot of balls, and I always commend you for that, because that's where your accountability comes in. Now, there were a few people that were a bit fucked off with that. But know what? You need to look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, why are you so pissed off by that? And I think that's what a lot of this video is about, is being able to look at yourself in the mirror and kind of ask yourself the question, am I annoyed at them, or is there something else in my life that I'm annoyed at that's causing me to lash out? Now, for example, the whole comments thing, I knew that the reason I was letting it get to me was because I was scared that Marv was potentially going to look in the comments and be like, know what, guys, I've changed my mind. I've seen the comments and I think, I've just checked everything and I'm just going to go with Ed's mix, and that's just what I'm going to do.
I would have refused. I'd have just said,
I know you would have.
That you need to work with Paul to get what you want.
Yeah, and I think that's what, again, I would do the exact same with him, and he knows that. But, again, even the fact that I had those fears and anxiety of having the mix kind of taken away from me when I worked so hard at it, I needed to look at myself in the mirror and go, know what, Paul, this is what this is. And at the end of the day, the saving grace for me was, even if he did do that, one, I already knew he would say, no, I'm not accepting it. But at the same time, even if it did end up having to go to Ed, it's still the one person in this world I would want it to go to. If I lost it to somebody else, honestly, Ed, I'd be fucked off if I lost it to anybody else. Fucking on, Ed, right, you have to take me off the ledge here. Right, we need to find this guy. Right, we need to destroy him. This is not happening. I've lost the mix because of this guy. But, even at that, just being able to have the, maturity to lose a mix and be humble to go, right, that didn't work out. Okay, just going to get myself up off the floor and I'm just going to fucking do what I need to do. But even still, I was speaking to people who have been quite open with me this week, who have said, tell me stories about mixes they've lost and stuff. And they're like, Paul, I didn't do anything different. And some of them I had to change the way how I do things. But I was like, right, that's been the third client on the trot I've not got. And then I went, oh, that's what it is. And I changed it and it worked. Maybe I had to change my monitoring. Maybe I had to change something in my setup. Maybe I had to change some way I mix. Maybe the genre's changed.
Or maybe change monitoring back to what I had, as we heard last week.
Yep, heard that, yep. And I think at the end of the day, it all comes back to the experience and looking at yourself to go, right, is it me that's the issue, or is it just the thing? I was going to say, is it the client that's the issue? It's the wrong way of putting it. But, is it even an issue? Is it just a thing where taste hasn't went in your favour? And went, Paul, there's times where maybe you could have 3 mixes on the trot and you're going against somebody else, and again, you lose 3 on the trot, and it's just a taste thing. These are all at such a high level that it's got to come down to a small bit of taste. Somebody does the vocals better, somebody does the snare better. They do something that's a little bit different. Maybe they've took a risk that nobody else took, and that's what they liked, and the fucking client went for them. It happens all the time. If you look at the Sabrina Carpenter album that she released, it's got Manny on it, it's got Serban on it, and it's got a few other mixers on there as well. Now, I probably take a guess that maybe Serban got the entire album, Manny got the entire album, and again, maybe some other big mixers got a shot of the album, but again, like Manny, I think, got 2, Serban got 3, I think. You know what I mean? So they've always been fighting against each other. Like, for the biggest artists in the world, of course everybody wants to be on Ariana Grande, and everybody wants to be on Billie Eilish, and everybody wants to be, on the next big thing. And, you get people like Spike that's very fortunate, and he does all the Ed Sheeran stuff, and nobody mixes Ed Sheeran bar Spike Stent. Or again, you get to be as fortunate as Peter Gabriel is, where he could pick Spike and Chad Blake and put them on 2 separate albums. It's, again, competition. And if you listen to Spike and Chad, me and Ed did it, I've spoke about it. If you've not done it, please experience it. Because you cannot get two any more different sounding albums. Like, they genuinely sound so different from one another. And if you could sit people in a room, people would sit there to you and say, Spike's fucking wrong. Spike doesn't sound right. Other people would say, Chad doesn't sound right. What the fuck is that all about? He's Chad Blake. But again, having that A-B is so unbelievably revealing. And it's something that our podcast has showed, is that when you have A-Bs of two people's mixes, that's when all of a sudden issues that weren't there before all of a sudden become an issue. And I think that's what Emre tries to teach me all the time, where he's like, Paul, the reason I don't want you mixing on the HE1000 SEs is because it's too much detail, and you love detail. That's the way you listen. Paul, you're not a big picture guy. It's like, I think that's one thing that Ed's got in his favour as being a drummer, is that Ed always focuses on the big picture for me. He focuses on the groove, he focuses on the feel, which is always going to give you an upper hand when you're dealing with musicians. Like, if you're dealing with artists that are good musicians, feel and timing and, those big picture things, those are things that are going to get you a mix over other people. And that's something I've had to teach myself, and that's why I'm still kind of on a monitoring journey where I'm still trying to find the right headphones that tell me enough of the big picture. But if I've not got enough of the picture,
no, you're not.
You're
going to mix on the MX4s and get on with it.
Yeah, no, I've been thinking that, because there's been 2 mixes on the trot. It's worked for me. But
Mix Phones is a great channel and a fantastic opportunity for you to really establish yourself as the authority on YouTube for headphones. But every set of headphones that you audition and have to learn and get to try will do 2 things. One, it will distract you from mixing and further developing your sound and ear on a stable set of headphones that you trust. But there will be learning opportunities in every single one. You'll hear something and you'll be like, okay, I need to listen out for that in my main monitoring setup. So it's going to be a blessing and a curse. I, however, would just rather stick with my 2 sets of headphones and angry boxes and crack on with it.
Autism for you. But even still, you'd be thinking about the internet. Like the internet, this is the issue with the internet I've always had, is that the reason many people own Bayer Dynamics and many people own Sennheisers is because that's what's been pushed in front of you. That's what you've seen. And many people just go, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And many people have done it with me. Many people have got into topping. Many people have got into hyphen just based on my word. But hopefully what I've done is I've showed you again, go on my website, check my mixes out. If you don't like my mixes, don't fucking take any recommendation from me. And that's why I always say to people, you need to be upfront and accountable with your mixes. Because
that'd be a good way to start a video if you're doing a review. I might try that, I'm going to do a nano video soon. I might be like, right, before I start this video, go and listen to my mixes. If you think they're crap, don't come back to this review of these headphones.
Yeah.
If you think they're good, that's what you can get out of them. Come back and trust my word on it and just see, the backlash, I reckon, would be quite substantial.
Yeah, but I think it's important, and I think that's where what we need the internet lacks. The internet lacks accountability. It's very easy, for somebody to take a review of a plugin and stick it on a mix that they know is good. Because you always find that there'll be many YouTubers that will put the same plugin through the same mix, and it's the same end result. They're not actually experiencing mixing through it and finding the trials and the tribulations of something. But at the end of the day, that's just, the internet for you. The internet has been allowed to have a lack of accountability. Again, the anonymity thing will never ever go away as though it is the way it is. But we try and be the change that we want to see, which is something that hopefully we've done. And we accept that the comments are the comments. And again, thing is, you can't please everybody. And I think that's something that I've got to teach myself, is that I am somebody that does like to try and please more than average. But what I love about this as a career is that I only have to please one person, or again, a group of people. And that's it. I've not got 100 people that I need to impress. All I need to impress is the artist, the manager, the A&R, whoever makes the final decision, whoever really is the decision maker, that's who I need to impress. And, consistency is so important. And Ed's absolutely right that the only way that you're going to get consistency is by experiencing yourself. Just because somebody else says, oh yeah, I'll get great results from X, Y, and Z, I'll get great consistent results, doesn't mean that you're going to get great consistent results, because everybody's different. You know what I mean? There's loads of people that will swear on Neumanns. I know people that can't stand Neumanns, vice versa. You know what I mean? I know
still get grief for not
I know
liking
you do.
those Neumanns.
You do, I know.
Even
But again,
today I had another comment be like,
did you?
questioning if I like, anyway.
But it's the internet for you. But again, it's because the internet needs to have its say, and somebody's got to be right for somebody to be wrong, where all you've got to focus on is yourself. The more you focus on yourself and not what other people tell you, the better things will get. And I promise you, you will get better at this. And try and find people like, you know, me and Ed, where, you know, you could be accountable together, where you've got a good pair of ears, where you could like do what we do. And, you know, at the end of the day, right, there might be things that me and Ed disagree on in a mix. But as we said, we choose whether we take that on board that day, or maybe we choose to take it on board the next day. Maybe we choose to not take it on board at all. But that's still our choice. And that choice comes from confidence. And again, it comes to consistency. Like, again, who am I to tell somebody that genuinely does, and I don't know many people, right? I'm just going to push that hornet's nest again. I don't know many people that do get consistent professional results mixing only on, I say it wrong, actually. I found out this today, Ed. It's not bear dynamic, it's buyer dynamic. Did you know that? I never knew that. You're meant to call it buyer dynamic. But I'm Scottish, so
Subliminal messaging by your dynamic headphones.
Oh, look at that, Ed. Fucking genius. Genius. Actually, I'll give them that. Look at my hair. What a mess. Jesus. Right, so I'm even bothered about my hair with the internet. Jesus. But look, at the end of the day, right, all I want you to take from this video is that the internet can be helpful, but you don't need to go through all the courses. You don't need to look at every single YouTube tutorial, because all it's going to do is distract you. Everybody has their own way of mixing. That's why I need you to understand. Everybody is going to tell you to do things differently, because that's what we do. That's why we exist. That's why there's Spikes and Serbins and Jasons and Mannies and many other mixers. That's why there's so many people, is because we all hear differently. We all have different tastes. We all have different methods and approaches. But the how they got to that level was that they were so confident in making their decisions, their own decisions, and that's what you need to do. The reason I feel like I can make this video, Ed, is because I see the comments that I get. You see the comments that you get. I get so many DMs with people asking me, please bro, tell me what to buy. Bro, should I do this? Just fucking do a mix. Just do a mix and see if it works. I don't know if this headphone works, bro. Are your clients happy? Yeah, super happy. Have you lost any mixes recently? Are your clients saying there's anything wrong with your translation? No, bro, it's fine, but some guy on the internet said that they were shit and I don't know what to do now. There's nothing wrong. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Just be confident in making your own decisions. That's what I need to do. I need to fucking grow up and learn that there are people on the internet that do want to get to me, because I have rubbed a lot of people up the wrong way. But even that, not everybody is wanting to rub me up the wrong way. People are just giving their honest feedback. And that's, you know, the internet. But again, it's just being able to be mature enough to be able to look the other way. Just go, right, I've read it, appreciate your opinion, okay, I'm going to go over here. That's what we all need to learn, because even in comments, Ed, like, remember I told you a wee while ago, there was a guy, I had to hide him because he pissed me off so much. He had 6 YouTube accounts, and when he commented, he would go on every single one of his YouTube accounts and like the comment that he put. Because I was like, wait, you just put that comment up 2 minutes ago, how has it got 6 likes? And I commented it, I was like, well, how is that possible? He's like, yeah, I just, it's almost like upvoting on Reddit. I just go on all these other accounts and like press like so it goes higher up the comments chain. And I was like, nah, you're binned. Fuck that. I'm no dealing with stuff like that.
He actually admitted that to you?
He admitted that, yeah. And, you know, these are the type of things where, the internet's this thing where everybody wants to fucking look better than other people. And that's the bad thing about the internet, is that there's not really much room for constructiveness. You know what I mean? There's not really much room for, you know, everybody getting on, and there's not much room for, you know, for 2 people like me and Ed just to go, great mix, man. Great mix, man. somebody's got to come off worse and somebody's got to come off better. Somebody's got to be right and somebody's got to be wrong. And if you stay on the internet and you allow yourself to just cripple yourself with all these opinions, and you go on all these forums and you take all of these opinions on, it's just going to distract you. Almost like when I'm on the HE1000 SEs and they're telling me this reverb tail and that there and that there, and you place that there and that there. It's like paralysis, and I'm like, oh, I need to deal with that. Where I could stick on a pair of these, for example, right? £99 pair of Hyphemans. See the way I would say these, right? I would say that it's like ARIA Organics is like listening to a 4K TV, 80-inch. Those are like listening to the same picture in 720p on like a 38-inch TV. The whole picture's there. It's just that the 4K big TV shows me all the details and I can get into it. But it's still the same picture at the end of the day. And that's what these, honestly, I'm still getting used to them, but like I highly recommend these. These are better than the Feels, in my opinion. They just genuinely tell you the big picture. I can get the energy, I can get the groove, I can get everything, but they don't overwhelm me. They just go, right, there's your meat and two potatoes.
We've become an episode of Mixed Phones.
I know, but look, it's just teaching yourself just to like focus on the things that you need to do, and you know, internet is just like everything else. It's easy to get distracted by the internet. I am intentionally not watching as much YouTube as I used to. I used to watch YouTube every day. I watch way less YouTube
I thought
content.
My numbers were down.
I watch way less YouTube content. I'm making less YouTube content on my own channel, and I'm struggling to get back into that.
I think that's similar across the board, though. YouTubers are fucking fed up of it, and YouTube don't pay us enough to make it worthwhile, and that's another debate. DistroKid hosts a range of visually engaging social media promotion tools to help your release stand out from the crowd. Creative and colourful social media cards incorporate your artwork to help your release stand out. These are free to download and can be highly effective promoting your release. DistroKid also offer mini videos, which are free, short, customizable videos incorporating your artwork and a short clip of your track. And if this wasn't enough, DistroKid also have a tool to create a Spotify canvas generator, which is the video that plays in the background when you're playing a song on Spotify. Simply choose a theme and choose from dozens of different creative artwork concepts. These are free to use and great for engaging your audience, available on DistroKid. For an additional subscription of $8.25 a month, you can get your music videos distributed to Apple Music, Vivo, and Tidal, and you'll keep 100% of your royalties. With DistroVid from DistroKid. For me, I think if you can navigate opinion paralysis successfully, accept and understand that there is no pleasing everyone, and ultimately you need to please one person, that's the person paying you, and find confidence through achievement and success. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Find confidence through skill. I think the work will come to you when you're ready for it. That was all. I remember Billy Cobham, legendary jazz fusion drummer, rock drummer, said that, and I heard that when I was about 12. He said, the opportunities, you have to go out and find them, but the opportunities that link up will come to you when you're ready for them. Yeah. And, you know, for a couple of years now, I've been like, why aren't I getting any clients in the studio? I'm getting a bit disgruntled. It's like, it just wasn't there. You have to be so good you can't be ignored now. You have to be so good at this craft. You just have to be so noticeably better than the next guy. And I think we're both there, or getting there. Now, there's always room for improvement.
Always, yeah.
And we will always be humble about that. But I think after the last few mixes we've done, both on the podcast and privately, I think we can be confident moving forward. And that will then beget even more confidence and work.
And I think that's all it needs to be. It just needs to be focusing on yourself. So I set you all a challenge. Right? I know it's funny, Ed, because I've made sure they've watched all this fucking video to get to this point. But try and watch.
If you mix EDM, mix a country track.
Right, do that as well. But right. See, this week I want to do you a challenge. Try and watch 10 less videos in a week, right? Just sit there and think this week. If you see
Paul,
a
I'm not
YouTube
watching
tutorial,
10 videos a week as it is.
yeah, but I know plenty of people are, right? If a YouTube tutorial comes out, a plugin review comes out, try and think to yourself, I'm only going to watch one review. I'm not going to watch 3 or 4, I'm going to watch one. Or again, if it comes up and there's a tutorial and you're like, mixing, how to EQ your vocals. Right, do you know how to EQ your vocals? Yeah. Don't watch it, right? And get to your point where, this is what I've been getting taught in counselling, this is how we'll end it, right? This wee challenge. Try and prioritise the things that you should be doing. So, if you really could be doing a practice mix right now, or you could be emailing a client, or you could be putting yourself out there, or you could be doing something that helps you get better at this craft, do that instead of watching another YouTube video. Do that instead of leaving another comment. Do that instead of arguing with somebody online.
And Paul and I are going to go away and do that instead of making videos.
I know, again, I'm not even making fucking videos on my own channel now. Eh? But again, look at that. Again, I've done like a paid client with Marv. I've got like a paid client EDM mix, got paid today. And it feels great, man. It does. It feels great when you just go out and work and it's just like, it's rewarding. And it's way, honestly, I can tell you, see that EDM mix today, even though it only took me like 4 hours, it was way more rewarding than any YouTube video I've ever done. It doesn't matter how many views it's got, how many subscribers
that
it's
changes.
got.
When you get a video over 100,000 views, it changes, mate. You'll get that one day.
Know what? Fuck off. That's what I'm done now. Know what? Fuck you, Ed. I'm done. I'm done. Fuck you.
Oh, he's actually leaving.
I wanted positivity, and you brought it down. You fucking brought it down.
Nice green trousers, by the way.
Fuck you.
On those green trouser bombshells. Hey, can you hear me? No. Right. He's actually gone, I think. So that's an entertaining end to the video. It has been emotional. Please don't take any of this as getting frustrated with your comments. We do appreciate them. Please keep them coming because we do, like I said, consider them and learn from them. But hopefully we can all remain positive and kind to one another and find our own self-belief. And remember that we're all on different journeys. We're at different points of that journey and we're going to go on different paths, and that's okay. You don't need to please everyone, and you don't need to attack people who don't agree with what you think. Lots of love. It's been emotional.
There you go.
We
wait. How about that? Look at that for an ensemble, eh? Fucking Jesus. Look at that for an ensemble.
Stopped recording ages ago. Were you waiting for me to stop talking then?
Yeah, I was just... I know, I was just going to let you fucking finish it. Give a wee bit of banter or whatever. Is that we're done? Could I press stop now? Yeah, you finish it? Yeah, good. Actually, we can end with that, actually.